I'm like, so disrespectful. Oh, like the stuff that I did. So I called my mom. Again, this is the after hours. So about 3 a.m. Mom, I'm going to park in this spot. No parking. Because it's on the lines. No parking. I'm going to park in this spot. And if the car gets towed, I'm going to call you because you're going to need to pick me up. Like, how disrespectful are you? Oh, I need some smack in my face. Shalom, shalom, guys. May YaHUaH be with you and barak you. Starting off the Trung, day 1 of the week, which some call Sunday, the sun's day. It is not. They're all YaHUaH's days. But we're back again, your girl Shaba, with another video. It's a bit different. Very much out of my comfort zone. As I was in Pala, got woken up out of my bed by some dreams. And was in my bed at Pala, some would say early in the AM, but it was very late at night, about 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Earlier. And we were simply rehearsing my testimony, and a lot of things I didn't even realize about how he shaped me and how he had been calling me, even from a little girl. I didn't even realize it, but you know, it is what it is. So I don't know who this is for. I know it's for myself, but I don't know whoever else this might be for. But I've gone through a lot of hurts, a lot of different things in my life. But I want to start it off with a song, because right now my life is very hard, and I'm very uncomfortable, and I'm dependent upon people, as you guys who have followed me do know, everything that's going on with me with my daughter, and everything, you know, with Melissa and everything like that. And it's a lot of loss. 6 kids, goat kids, we had born in the last, I'll say, month and a half or so. And out of 6 kids, 6 ram kids, we have 1 leave, only 1. But I do have a miracle. YaHUaH did work in my life as well. My turkey, his neck was broken, and I wish that I would have took video or picture of him when it was on me to take it, but this got caught up. And YaHUaH has healed him. He is up. I have to get a video of him or a picture of him and post it. Maybe overlay this video with it or something when I go back to edit. But that's gonna be tough because my phone is dead. It dropped in the water about 2 chunks ago, and as you can see, the back of my phone is already cracked up. So water got in there, and through here it's all cracked up with the case. So I don't know what my case was doing, but when I dropped it in the toilet, taking my daughters to the bathroom, this is my screen now, and I've had it in rice for almost 2 weeks. So rehearsing my testimony. This has been a song for me for a long time. One of my first albums me used to love back when me a teenager, even before me can even drive and things like that. But this was my song. It's a Murray song. There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will have to fight, but the defeat or overcome, it's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? I can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe you brought me this far to leave me. Never said there wouldn't be trials. Never said I wouldn't fall. Never said that everything would go the way I wanted to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel our hope is lost, I will lift my head up to the sky and say, help me to be strong. I can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe you brought me this far to leave me. Oh, I know you didn't bring me out here to leave me lonely. Even when I can't see clearly, I know that you are with me, so I can't. Whoa, I can't, no. 'Cause I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. But hey, I don't believe you brought me this far to leave me. I can't give up now. No, I can't give up now. Said I've come too far from where no one said it would be easy. Nobody, not the road would be. Hey, I don't believe you brought me this far to leave me. Hallelujah, Rumamu YaHUaH to the Rabba BanYaHUaH for everything that you have done, everything, all the work that you are doing, that you will bring into completion, BanYaHUaH. You are wonderful, you are matchless, you are mighty, and me don't have nothing on me head. Slacking, me wasn't planning to do this. But YaRamYahu, man, he is so awesome, and I'm gonna try not to cry. I'm trying not to cry. So where did YaHUaH bring me from? He brought me a long way, you know. From when I was even a little girl, like I don't even know how old. It was under 10, you know, say me under 10, probably more than 5, but under 10. Me would go to CH on Shabbat. On Shabbat. Me would go to CH, one of my auntie and my husband, my aunt Sylvia and my uncle Joe. He is a preacher. I think he's still a preacher over there on CH on the hill. And we would go every Shabbat. I had my little uniform, a little blue shirt, button-up shirt, and my brown skirt, and my tights, and whole thing. I had a uniform for I think it's the CH of Saints and CHRIST or something, as what their denomination is. But yeah, went on Shabbat, and YaHUaH brought that back to my memory late the night that passed. And I'm like, you know, I never even thought about that. Was keeping me, I've kept the Shabbat, and then I still went back and went to Sunday CH, because that's what the majority of my family did do. They were Baptists. So, you know, my grandma, when I would go with my grandma, my mom wasn't really a big CH person. We would go maybe on, you know, the big days, Bloody Bunny Day, Pagan Mass. Pretty much Bloody Bunny Day, not really even Pagan Mass. Did we really go a CH? But Bloody Bunny Day, probably every single year we were in CH. And then I had a neighbor that lived across the road from me. Her name was Kiva and Miss Tanya. So I would start going to CH with them over on the hill. Wow, YaHUaH. Most of my CH time was on the hill. That's interesting. But I went to CH on the hill. What was it called? I can't even remember what it was called. Can see it there. I think Central Baptist, I believe. And you know, I was in there, and then somehow got involved with Ebenezer Baptist, also on the hill, and that's where my mom and my dad got married. My mom and stepdad got married at Ebenezer Baptist, and I was very much so like music. Praise and worship has always been something that I loved. Even I think I was on like some sort of like praise dance team over at Ebenezer or something, and it was something about praise and worship and dancing and those things. It was very much so in my heart. I don't know how I got lost with it, but you know, started partying and, you know, gone on that type of scene and whatever. Still going to CH, you know, sometimes and that type of thing. But yeah, that was my humble beginnings in the CH on Shabbat, keeping the Shabbat for YaHUaH. And then when I was a teenager, probably like 16, 15, I think I was driving at this point, maybe not, so maybe like 15, maybe even 14. My brother Tonio and his wife Shia, they stopped celebrating birthdays. They stopped they stopped celebrating the pagan days. And you know, me and my sister, we would be like, they're crazy, man. What are they doing? Like, it's for the kids, you know. Even now, it's for the kids. No, it's not for the kids. If you knew what these pagan and satanic things that you were participating in, if you knew how satanic they were, it's not for the kids. But that's the trick, you know. We were all deceived, because even at this point where it was in my face, you know, and they stopped doing these things. And I mean, I never heard, you know, what names they were calling or anything like that. I wasn't really interested, and my brother really didn't, you know, try to explain it, at least not that I can remember, to any of us about, you know, YaHUaH, Yahusha, or whatever Yah name he did call at that time. They called at that time. But I'm like, you're crazy. Like, this is crazy. That's stupid, you know. And come to find out, after he died a few years ago, too, at his little, you know, I guess it was like a repast, or whatever, you know, everybody was wearing zeets and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, because at this point, I'm in the truth. This was a couple years ago. I think I was pregnant with my 3-year-old. So come to find out, talking to his wife, she's like, yeah, she was calling on YaHUaH. And she was like, yeah, we were, you know, the Hebrew, you know, lights. And I'm like, oh, but she's like, but it was, you know, pretty much it was a burdensome, you know, having to wear head wrap all the time and all this different stuff. So that led me to know or believe, especially this had to have been like in the early 2000s, that they were, you know, transitioning. So it would have had to been a camp. And you know, being what I see, then I should say, when that happened, the people who call themselves Hebrew lights, yeah, that's why it was so burdensome, because they do a lot of legalistic things over there, and that's why I'm not I don't associate with that. I'm not a Hebrewite. I'm not a Hebrew. I'm not any of that. Very offensive to me. But yeah, that's crazy to me. Figuring that out now. And I look back on that, like that is a foundational thing for me, that I look back on that very much. And from there, I'm like, that's the start of when he was trying to call me. But no, it was when I was a little girl. He brought that back to me from when I was little, before I was 10. He was trying to get my attention and trying to pull me out of, Sunday CH and these things. But I was too busy partying. I was too busy, trying to live my best life. Joining in with the in crowd and, So then, I had the boys, the twins, and then I moved to Texas. So I'm thankful, that I was never really somebody, even with my mom, I was never really somebody with like roots, if you will. Like I never had those attachments where I'm like, I can't leave, I can't go, I gotta stay here. Like a lot of my family was born and raised in Pittsburgh and they won't leave. Some of them have ventured off, gone down south. So I have some in California. I know one of my cousins is in California. I know some of them are like in the DMV area, but for the most part, majority of my family is in Pittsburgh. They were born and raised in Pittsburgh and they won't leave Pittsburgh. But I've always been somebody, I've never really liked Pittsburgh. I don't like the cold, for one. Never liked the cold. But it was always something, and I'm guessing it's something spiritual. I don't like to be there because knowing what I know now about that place, and I haven't even done an extensive search, but something about that place is not even the way that it's built in these things. I don't even know where I even heard that, but some teaching or something. But anyways, I'm trying to stay on top because I will get lost, guys. There's something about Pittsburgh I never liked. Like I didn't have any attachments there or anything like that. So I moved to Texas. I got a job because I was, got my degree in criminal justice, criminal righteousness, if you will. It's not really that, but can't say that other word either. So that's what I got my degree in. And I got my master's degree in it. Following my mom's footsteps. My mom was a big educational somebody. When she did die, she was almost graduating to get her doctorate degree. So I was following, example, as, that's what my mom taught me. So that's what I did. Hindsight 2020, I would have never gone to college. Never. But anyways, that's what I did. And then I couldn't get a job as a parole officer because that's what I want to do. I want to be a juvenile probation officer. I've always had a passion for like kids and trying to, my thought process was, if I can be a juvenile probation officer, then I can impact kids' lives before more than likely it becomes like on their permanent record, and try to help them and redirect them. That was my goal. That was what was in my heart, and what I wanted to do, and or parole. Anyways, or in parole, trying to help, get people back to functioning, reintegrate back into what they call society and these types of things. Always having a heart for people, because I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood, but I wasn't like I didn't grow up really in the hood. I mean, yeah, partially, but not really in the hood. And I seen stuff and, you know, stuff like that. It always nagged me, like, why? Why does this have to happen? Why are there gangs? Why are, you know, our people, friends from the same neighborhoods, the same this and that, why are they shooting at each other? Why are they feuding? Like, I don't know. It's just always thoughts in the back of my head, but, you know, trying to be with the in crowd and, you know, whatever, and living my best life. That wasn't really anything that I acted on or researched out or anything like that. So anyway, fast forward, I moved to Texas, and I got a job as a parole officer there, and I hated it because it was basically a social work job. I had trying to get my experience up. I had been a social worker for many years. Well, I'll say many like I was old, but probably about 4 or 5 years. I had been a social worker at different organizations, and it was very taxing. You know, stuff that families go through, and, you know, the hurdles they face, and, you know, it didn't really matter. A lot of the families were, you know, impoverished families, but there were some, after I came back from Texas anyway, there were some, you know, more wealthier type clients, and it didn't matter. There was always some sort of dysfunction. There was always some sort of something. So anyway, trying to help, you know, stabilize families so they don't get active with, you know, CYF and things like that. Or some of them were active with CYF and us dually and that type of stuff. So it was a really taxing job. And then being a parole officer in Texas, I hated it. And I worked up in Sherman, which was right, if you don't know, it's right on this one town down from the Oklahoma border. Like, from where I worked, you can get to Oklahoma in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops, if that. So nobody wanted to work up there. It was a very taxing commute from where I lived, and it was just taxing, like demanded overtime. I'm like, what is this? And in Texas, my Pittsburghers, in Texas, parole is nothing like in the States, or in Pennsylvania, I should say, not in the States, in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, they pretty much are like the police. Like, you don't play with your parole officer. They will lock you up, they will whatever. In Texas, like, you even have to take a special class to be able to carry a gun. You don't have any powers. Like, if somebody is doing something, if they come and report their pee is dirty or anything, you have to call the police and try to, you know, play and wait and, you know, for the police to show up. So you want me to go to people's houses and go and inspect and make sure they're following the guidelines of their parole, criminals who went to state or federal prison, and you want me to go unarmed, no powers? It was oh, that's another topic for another time, maybe, or maybe not. But anyways, that's what I did. So I hated it because it was nothing like what I envisioned, and it was really a dangerous type of job. It's dangerous anyway, but you want me to go and tell somebody at their house they're violating their parole, and I'm going to go and write up paperwork to get them arrested, or huh? And I don't have no way to protect myself. It's really, anyways, that's what I did for a while, until my mom died. And that was 2014. I think 2014, my mom died. Unexpectedly, out of the blue, from a pulmonary aneurysm, they say anyway. So, my mom was one of those, she was an idol to me. I can say that. After she died and after I came into the truth, I realized that she was an idol for me, because even as a big woman with my kids, if somebody, my jobs, school, even when I was in grad school, you know, I had this one teacher, she didn't like me. She didn't like me. I mean, lots of people don't like me, but she didn't like me. I came late to class all the time. Late. I'm always late. I wasn't really interested because my personality is, it's a quirky one. My personality is from my insurance days. I'm an eagle. So I like straight, direct to the point. You don't have to give me all the specs, all the things. I don't need, you know, every single last detail to be able to make a decision. It's a gift, but it can be sort of a curse as well. I'm very direct to the point, if you can't tell by my videos. So she didn't like me because I got 50,000 million things that I'm trying to do. And then you're coming in here telling me basically stupid stuff. It aggravates me, even still to this day. I'm trying to remain fruitful and work on my fruits. But yeah, she didn't like me. And I got partnered with a girl who knew that she didn't like me. And it was like one of those that she's going to put everybody down to rise up where, I don't know, because we're all going to get graded on our stuff. But that was her personality. And I got partnered with her for something. So the girl told the teacher that I was not doing my work. I wasn't communicating, all this stuff. So immediately the teacher went and took her side because she didn't like me anyway. And probably based on my personality, I'm not paying attention in class. I'm always late. I'm this and I'm that. So yeah, why not? This sounds like it would be right up your alley, right? Assumptions. So I had the proof, I had communications that I sent her and everything like that. And I had my mom, because nobody don't mess with me or I will go and get my mom. So she was really an idol for me. Like, who was my mom? She YaHUaH? No, she was not YaHUaH. Far from it. But my mom was awesome, I will say. I don't know that she knew, you know, the names of YaHUaH, YaHUsha. She wasn't really a spiritual type person. I mean, she did listen to some God spell songs, like Karen Clark shared. That was one of the ones we listened to a lot. That song FAVOR is still one of my favorites. But yeah, we weren't really a spiritually led in my inner family. My core family wasn't really that. So I don't know, but my mom was very kind. She was very open-hearted to everybody, anybody. There's like, even when I moved to Texas, my friend Featrice, love her. But my friend Featrice, I think she needed like help with a resume or something. I was like, oh yeah, my mom can do it, because that's who did everything for me. So it was like, I don't even know how my dad could stay married to her with me. And then, oh, my brother, he's worse than me. But it is what it is. He's not in the truth or anything. My younger brother from my stepdad's son and my mom's son. But yeah, I was so disrespectful. I'm like, so disrespectful. Oh, like the stuff that I did, but go out and party, go to after hours and stuff. There was no parking down in the strip. There was like one after hours before there was the ones over and like Pin Hills, or not Pin Hills, but over Point Breeze or whatever that place is called. But there was one down in the strip, that we would go to, and the parking lot was always full. So I called my mom. Again, this is the after hours, so about 3 a.m. Mom, I'm gonna park in this spot. No parking, because it's on the lines. No parking. I'm gonna park in this spot, and if the car gets towed, I'm gonna call you because you're gonna need to pick me up. Like, how disrespectful are you? Oh, I need some smack in my face. What disrespectful? Disrespectful, I tell you, disrespectful. But, you know, that was my mom. She didn't really tell anybody no. She is the baby sibling of the family. A lot of the things got dumped on her. Some of my cousins she did raise, take in, you know, for various reasons. But, yeah, that was my mom. And it's rough times like this that I miss her. Because most of the time I go on about my day, like the death anniversary comes up and those types of things. Like when I started coming into truth and YaHUaH started revealing different things to me and all of this stuff, like that started to come off of my brain. And then, you know, some of my cousins would call me, some of my family would call me at the time. Hey, did you check on your dad? Hey, I was checking in to make sure you're all right. I'm like, why wouldn't I be? Oh, well, you know, today is the anniversary. Oh, I forgot all about that. Like, but it is what it is. It's growth, and it's, you know, focusing on the things above that, like those dates or anything like that. It's only times like when I'm down that I really think about my mom, because I wouldn't have some of these problems because my mom I would have her as a resource. Not that she would be, you know, the fix-all. It would be, you know, YaHUaH, but I wouldn't have some of these things that are keeping me up at night and that I worry and I stress about if my mom was here. Because now I'm basically, you know, all alone. After my mom died, pretty much our family, you know, left. Lots of people turn their back on me. They'll say whatever they want to say about me when nobody really knows anything. But, you know, people talk, people whatever. I've lost my mind, whatever the case may be. People think I'm crazy now. I don't care. But, you know, at that point I was at a very low spot. Like if I didn't have my sons, I would have probably killed myself at that point because I didn't want to live anymore. One of my friends actually called the police and they took me to a mental place and held me there for a little while because I was so angry and I was so hurt and I was so distraught, and I was like, my mom was my world and she was gone. And makes me mad that, you know, people's moms and family members in general, but really like people's moms are crackheads, people's moms are abusing them, people's moms are this. My mom wasn't that. Not for me, not for my brother, not for anybody that she's taken in, not for anybody, because she's helped lots of people in her life. And I'm like, why would you take her? So I was very angry at what I call it, God at that time. I was very sad. I was very distraught. And I didn't want to live anymore. But I had these 2 twins, her boys, that were very bad, troublesome. Nobody wanted to keep them. Like nobody wanted to keep them. Nobody, like, we got called to birthday party, sleepover birthday party. Oh, you can bring them, but you have to stay with them. And then, you know, when you leave, they have to leave, type of thing. Some of my cousins, oh, you know, I don't mind, you know, if you and Tosh come here. This after I had my daughter, but I don't feel like dealing with the boys. Like, there's always rejection on their part. A lot of it because of their behavior, but they were very close to my mom too. As I said, I was very selfish, very spoiled, very disrespectful. So my mom had my boys a lot, as I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. And so they were very close to her. They were grieving, but before that, they were bad. Like, they were bad. I remember I tried to change their daycares to get them in like a more prestigious, more NACE accredited, and these types of things so they can learn. They're very bright boys, very bright. They are both very bright. And I wanted to, make sure they had the best daycare and, to be able to teach them and stuff like that. Because, of course, I had to work. And plus, I had my off time and what I wanted to do. So I did that. And they got kicked out one day. But part of it was their fault. But when I did the enrollment and everything, I said, do not put them in the same classroom. They feed off of each other. Do not put them in the same classroom. They put them in the same classroom. I mean, they were taking off their boots. They were throwing them at people. Like after one day, they said, you cannot bring them back. To the point where when they were even less than 2, the daycare that they were at said that they forced me to get them a psychiatric. I don't like that word either. I believe that's connected to a mighty one. But they had me get them an evaluation, and from there they've been diagnosed with ADHD, ADD, ODD. They were on meds for a little bit, but wasn't really consistent with it. I don't really like it. So yeah, a whole heap of attacks from Hashatan I know now, on their life and on my life as a way to get to my life. So it's been a rough road with them as a single mom. But it was easier when I had my mom. And after my mom, that I didn't get any breaks. Nobody would really keep them for me. I had my uncle. He's really my cousin, but he's older, like my mom's age. So I call him my uncle. He would take them for, sometimes, like even when I had my daughter, I went to the hospital. He kept them for me. My dad got remarried very quickly after that. And from his lifestyle changed a whole heap. So he didn't really have time and interest or anything like that. Sometimes he would keep them, very rarely, but I didn't have really anybody. So I couldn't kill myself or dead or anything like that because I would have nobody reliable to take care of my sons. That's the point of the matter. Long story short, I had nobody to take care of my sons. So for my sons, I had to live. And I needed them at that time, although they needed me. I needed them at that time as well because they helped me. Like through my pregnancy, they would, put some stuff on the new wave, like some nuggets and fries or something, like when I was too depressed to get out of bed. So after that, I had come into a different CH down in Texas, and at one W-Day Bible study, one of the questions is 2 things that caught my eye. I don't know if they were at the same Bible study or different Bible studies, but 2 things caught my eye during the study. One of them, somebody asked a question about JC being black. And, pastor, it was a non-denominational CH at that point. I moved into like the non-denominational. That has started to be a thing. So I was going there. And a black man, or melanated man, I don't like to use that term either. Melanated man, melanated CH. And his response was, oh, what doesn't matter? And this and that. And it doesn't matter. Basically. And he gave all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Booba. Yeah, breast please. So I'm like, yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter, so long as you know who he is and you're trying to serve him and whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But that's still something that was like, why is every movie white? Why is every time you see somebody from the scriptures, why are they always depicted as white? That wasn't really prevalent in my mind at the time, but looking back when those meditations come back, I'm like, but why? And then the other major thing that stood out to me, somebody asked a question about that chapter and verse. I can't remember what it is. I might look it up. But everybody knows it. That one that talks about like the wild parties and the lust and the this, and these are the things that YaHUaH hates, right? And somebody was asking, I think, about fornication or something. And it was like, the pastor really didn't want to answer it. Like he gave a answer, but not really one that answered the question. And when that scripture got brought up at that point, I'm like, yeah, why is like these are things that YaHUaH hates. I was pregnant at the time, of course, fornicating, but pregnant with my daughter. But I was like, yeah, something gotta give, or whatever. I'm like, that one always stuck with me. And then I had started getting involved with somebody, and they were very big into like conspiracy theories, they called them. What I'm like, I don't even care. Like, the earth is flat. Like, look at when you go on a plane and this and that and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't care. So long as when I get on a plane, I go from point A to point B, I really don't care. Same like my brother in the truth. I don't care. Like, what are you even talking about? That's stupid. Like, why is that even on your brain? Like, I'm like, I don't care. And then he was very much big into like music and stuff, and you know, the elite and the Illuminati and you know, all these things. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't care. Like, they don't have nothing to do with me. As though I started paying attention to as it started getting dark, the music industry. And I reflect back on those times, and I'm like, look at that. I was, you know, definitely more aware of it, and which ultimately I'm like, this stuff is getting too dark. Like, I don't want to watch videos. I don't want to watch no award shows. I don't want to watch none of it. I don't even hardly some of the time want to hear some of the stuff. As I continue to grow, and that's part of the reason why I do music now. Not only because that was like my first love, if you will call it that. Now that I'm reciting my testimony, because some of these things I just forgot about. But I'm like, I don't even care. Like, that don't have nothing to do with me. I don't care. I don't want to go into that industry. I don't care about that stuff. So, you know, that was another piece. Like, all these different times he was giving me these ways to his truth. And I was like, I don't care. Like, that doesn't even matter to me. Like, I don't care. So then, and even going back to childhood, one of my stepdad's brothers, my Uncle Fatty, we got on the preacher, right? Still to this day, he was always outspoken about God and JC. Like, he would go into CH's, calling out the pastor and Ray. And one of my aunts, my favorite aunt, we were talking about it not too long ago. Well, not even one of my favorite aunts, my favorite aunt. All throughout my life, my favorite aunt. But we were talking about it, and she was like, yeah, that's so embarrassing, and he's out of order, and I, politely held my tongue, because I have different thoughts about that. And the scripture has different thoughts about that as well. But I was like, that's programming. Like, who says that the pastor man is to sit up there and talk about nonsense for 45 minutes, an hour or two, or however long he wants to go. And nobody's supposed to interrupt him. You go to him after service. But if he's in error and leading people astray in error, there's a duty for it to be called out, for the question. It could be in a respectful way. I'm not saying being disrespectful, but I don't know that my uncle was being disrespectful. It's simply he had questions. But is that really that? And is that? And he was not ashamed. That, what is it? Romans something. Romans 8:18, 6:18, Romans 1:18, something 18. When it says, I am not afraid of the Bashor and Ray and this and that. And I'm like, he modeled the boldness, even, in a lot of these things stem from my childhood. And I couldn't even recognize it, but I had a thought, and I said, at this point in time, I would go right to a CH with my uncle right now and call out the pastor. I mean, I'm not called to do that, so I'm not going to do that. It was and say, hey, go to this CH and make sure, whatever. When I left CH, that was the last words I had for a pastor, about his erroneous ways and things like that. But I haven't been called to do that, so I'm not going to do that. But it was a joke and it was a thought. I would go right there with him. I would call out the pastor, ask him the tough questions nobody wants to ask, because nobody don't even care, because nobody's really reading their scripture, and they just take the 1-2 little verses that the pastor man takes out. We all know, most of us know who are watching this, because we've come in out of CH and can see the traps and the tricks and these things. When we start to read the word actually for ourselves with new lenses, with YaHUaH's mindset and his rule to lead us into all truth. But anyways, that was another part that I did miss. But my Uncle Fatty, he was also somebody in my childhood who was never ashamed. He would always sing, JC loves a little children. He would always sing that to us. All the kids, I even still think now he sings that to the kids. But yeah, it was, oh man, I tell you, when I think back about these things, as YaHUaH brought this stuff back to me, these are stuff that I forgot all about, but they were still YaHUaH nudging at me. This is the way, this is take this, spit out the bones, eat the meat, and I'm just like, man, but BatYaHUaH. So anyways, where was I at? I don't even know. The stuff I'm like, I don't even care. This don't pertain to me. I don't care. But it's stuff that if you really think about it, when I think about it now, yeah, the earth is flat. They tell us sea level, right? The sea is level. Water, liquid always finds a level. So if we're on a spinning ball, I don't care how fast it's spinning, some part should always constantly be underwater. Sea can never be level on something that's spinning. I don't care how fast you want to say it's spinning. Stuff that was yeah, and then I can go back with scripture. The earth, he made the sun and the moon stand still in whose day? I think that was in Chronicles or Kings, maybe Samuel. No, Hosea. One of them. I can't even remember. But he made the sun and the moon stand still. So what did I tell you? The sun and the moon are moving, not the moon, not the earth moving around. 4 corners of the earth. You can't get 4 corners on the ball. All of these things I could have gone and connect back to the scripture that YaHUaH was trying to get my attention to wake me up, but I didn't care. That didn't have anything to do with me, like my sons now. Oh, I don't care. So where did you come from? How did the earth begin? I don't care. Where now? That has nothing to do. That has everything to do. If you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. I heard that saying, and that stuck with me. But it's being a young, dumb, and out of control. Isn't that what they always say, But I'm like, man, look how many times YaHUaH was so loving and kind to continue to work at me. Wretched old little me. And I'm like, man, YaHUaH, God could still be out there dead, you know? So, when I was a social worker at a place, a CH place, they had a organization that they had started, nonprofit social work place. So when I worked there, I had this beloved mother figure that came in for me. Love her. I don't know, about her now. I haven't talked to her in a few years, but loved her to pieces. She's such a wealth of knowledge, but coming in the truth kind of like strayed, because whatever. But she would always say, you're a powerhouse in the kingdom. You're a powerhouse in the kingdom. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. I don't think so, but okay, if you say so, whatever. But she helped me through so much stuff, like with her social work background and, being a pastor and those types of things. Like, she helped me out so much at a time when I didn't have any mother. So yeah, that too. And I'm like, yeah, if you say so, that's what you say, but all right. So and then the conspiracy theories about, the straw man and this and that and being free, that big old movement and whatever. And I'm like, hey, that's interesting to know. I'd like to be free and this type of stuff, but never looked into it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get to it. But life kept lifing, and I never made time for do that. So I'm like, all these conspiracies. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. So then I was in a CH, very charismatic pastor, who was really like, when I would watch him on like the TV, the Isgen TV network over in Pittsburgh, and I'm like, I really like his messages. Like, he's not talking like the other pastors. He's not talking about, foolishness. He wants you to read your word and these types of things. So I'm like, that's real cool, because I've never experienced that, So I'm like, yeah, I like that. So I made it a point to go there, and end up joining and everything, and I was training under him to be a pastor. It was a group of us training under him to be a pastor. And YaHUaH, that's when he really started working on me, because, I was like, I'm not doing this crime stuff anymore. At some point over the years, I had that scripture come up first, YaHUaH, or who they say is John chapter 3, where it talks about, and I was reading in the Amplified, if you're, habitually, consistently, I forget what the three verbs, or are they verbs or adjectives? I think they're adjectives, describing words. Three adjectives, that it was like, if you knowingly, willingly, intentionally, something like that, deliberately, knowingly, willingly, and whatever, commit crime, you are a child of, at that time, Satan, Hashatan. And you never knew, the Father, and you never knew him. And I'm like, wow, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that at all. So I'm like, no, I don't want to be like that. I like all this stuff has to stop. Like, this foolishness has to stop. I'm going to read my word. I'm going to, be the best little Isgen I know how to be, and be a pastor girl, and, these things. Maybe even, I think that was even before I was like, okay, I think I need to be a pastor. And then also around that time, the same scripture, I think it's in YaHUaH, maybe YaHUaH, or Matthew, or maybe John. One of those Bashora books, God spell, they call them books. But one of the Bashora books, and it talks about even the very left would be deceived. if it were not for YaHUaH. And I'm like, boy, I don't want to be this. If YaHUaH's elect, the Most High's elect could be deceived, this is a true, huge deception. I don't want to be deceived at all. Please don't let me be deceived. That started being my prayer. I don't want to be a child of Hashatan. I don't want to be deceived. I don't want to be these things. Like, so I started reading my scriptures, and I, started going to CH every Sunday, and these things, and YaHUaH started to jump out at me even more than he already was. Oh, and I had went to another thing. I had went to on a women's conference. T.D. Jake's daughter, Sarah. So what's her name? Sarah Jakes. She has that annual women's conference, and I was like, oh, I'm so love their messages, and I'm like, I gotta get there. So I went to one of them, and what I saw there, I was so, don't get me wrong, I was like, oh, there was such an anointing there, and more than likely it was the HOLY duppy, but I do believe that YaHUaH used different things there to speak to me and to show me, because at one point Sarah and her husband did an altar call, and T.D. Jakes and his wife were like on one of the corner front row. And as they did the altar call, women are coming up there, we're coming up there trying to approach the altar, trying to get some healing, trying to get some delivering, trying to get, whatever. And the security came, and they like, what's TDJ and then T.D. Jakes and him wife away? And I'm like, what is that? Like, when did the CH become like celebrityism? Like, that was like, you're a pastor, I believe his wife is a pastor, and your daughter's a pastor, your son-in-law is a pastor. They've done an altar call. Like, you would think the logical thing would be to do is to start laying hands on people or start praying for people like they are doing. But instead you're being whisked away. I'm like, that from there, I was like, I don't know what this is. And then it started getting my lens, my scope on like the major CHs, and it's even stuff that I was seeing changing in the CH that I was in. And it's like the pastor was doing like a shift, and he was bringing in like these internationally known prophets, and go tell all your family, bring them in next Sunday because the prophet is gonna be in the house. And no, please. And even trying to, even the logo and stuff changed, the name changed to another level, and the logo change, which was like pyramid type, what you played it off as some angel, some explanation, because a lot of us felt like as we were waking up, it wasn't sitting right, and a lot of people pointed out the logo, and he gave this explanation about an angel and all this stuff, and it was going downhill. It was going left real fast, real quick. So yeah, no. And I'm like, yeah, no, like that fire and that zeal that had led me to that CH, it was like it was shifting, like it was selling out. And I'm like, no, can't. So when I came back, I relayed the things, to the pastor, and I'm like, in our little ministerial class, and I'm like, yeah, that really disturbed my room really bad. Like, even to this day, that really disturbs me. That's why, my messages are what they are. That's why YaHUaH gives me what he gives me, because all of these things he has been placing in me for a long time. Some of the stuff I couldn't even recognize. Some of it I have when I started paying attention and trying to be on his time, trying to know him, trying to have a relationship with him, trying to get my life right. And then I started being more and more crazy in people's eyes. And I don't care. Had one of my cousins, don't put him in a box. Don't put God in a box. And I'm like, no, we can't be doing this. No, I don't want to do this anymore. And you can't put him in a box. Well, the world is putting him in a box. Oh, I got this little box, and when I need something, I'm going to pray to God and JC, and then I'm going to live my life. I'm going to fornicate. I'm going to party. I'm going drunk. All these things I was doing too. So it's not no diss to anybody. I'm going to do all these things, and then when I need him, I'm going to get down on my knees, and I'm going to pray. When I need a new job, when I need a new car, when I need whatever. And it's like, that's putting him in a box. Like, I want to make him number one in my life. Like, I want to do what he wants me to do. And once I started doing that, like all these revelations, not even all these pieces, because some of this stuff I'm not even realizing until I'm talking about it now. But these pieces start clicking together of different things that I've experienced, different things that I've seen, different things that he showed me, different things that he placed in my heart. And I'm like, yeah, this is not right. So at the CH I was going to at the time, I was reading through, the law, the Torah. And I kept reading, keep these feasts forever throughout your generations. And I know a lot of people, this is where they've woken up. And it's like, keep these feasts forever throughout, again, the Amplified, keep these feasts forever throughout your generation, no matter where you might go. And I'm like, oh, why are we not keeping the feast? We're doing pagan mass, we're doing Bloody Bunny, we're doing Valentine's, we're doing mothers, fathers, we're doing Thanksgiving, everything, Juneteenth, everything. Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, we're doing everything. And we don't see them nowhere in no scripture. So why are we not keeping these feasts? I went to a pastor and I'm like, yeah, why are we not doing this? And he was like, well, that's for the Ish people. That's for the Jewish people. And, they're still looking for the third temple to be built. And da-da-da. And I'm like at that point, this is when I'm already like, I don't want to be deceived. I don't want to be a child of Ashatan and these certain things. So you will start working on that, because that was really my heart's desire. And I really want to have a relationship with you, because in order to not be deceived, you have to have a relationship with him or you're going to be devoured. I'm like, no, that might have fooled me before, but they're not going to fool me this, something like that. I said, okay, I wasn't going to argue. I'm like, he's went to cemetery school, and, he's a pastor, and he has a tube grip of word. But something still was like, no, something is not right. So then it came October 31st. And, we're going to have an alternative. I'm like, what? YaHUaH did not sit right. We're going to dress up as Bible characters, and we're going to get the people off the streets, and we're going to take their information, we're going to minister to them for a little bit, we're going to have candy and stuff for the kids, and that'll be that. We'll have an alternative. And I'm like, ask him again. I don't know why. I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we having an alternative? Why are we doing this? And this is a wicked day. And he was like, well, my God is a redeeming God, and he can redeem anything, and this and that. And again, I didn't question it or anything, but it did not sit well in my room. And I'm like, what? No, man. Why would he redeem? And this is later on. I'm like, why would he redeem wicked days? He's given us these feasts. He said, keep forever throughout your generations, no matter where you might go. Not for the camps that say, oh, you can't do it in the land of your captivity. Throughout your generations, no matter where you might go, how many times feasts have been kept in captivity in the scripture, in the Torah, not even in the Torah, in the first covenant, what they call the Old Testament. Throughout your generations, no matter where you might go, forever. He didn't say take a break until my son comes back. So I'm like, no, man, why would he redeem this? And we can't even do what he's already said to do forever. I'm like, no, man. Then Paganus came around. I didn't take my kids to the alternative. I didn't even put on a costume for it. I did go because I was in a ministerial class training to be a pastor, but I didn't take my kids to it. I was like, no, I don't like this. I don't want to, no. So then Paganus came around December 25th, I mean. And I'm like, you know, they had a little celebration and stuff like that. And, you know, a service and whatever. And it started weighing on me like, when did he say to keep his son's birthday? Not that that even is his birthday, but when did he say for keep his son's birthday? There are so many, there's at least 4 different accounts of his birth, I believe, in the YaHUaH books. I think every one of the YaHUaH books talks about his birth, if I'm not mistaken. If not, BatYaHUaH and YaHUaH, and Matthew and John, at least. And he gave a whole heap of things. He was in swaddling clothing. He was in a tabernacle, a sakut, or sakat. I gotta look back at that word as a singular. But it wasn't a manger. The inns were full. So, like, I live in a big tourist town here. All the resorts were filled. So all the guest houses, not even all the guest houses, all the resorts were filled. So you had to go to a guest house. You had to go to like a secondhand something, a guest house. You know, so he was in a tabernacle. Why? Because he was born at tabernacles. That's why they had the tabernacles. But and they were traveling so he can go and get numbered. Yusuf, the earthly father, can get numbered. So it was tabernacles. But I'm like, why would he say all these things? The 3 stars that the 1 star, or the 3 stars, can't remember, that the 3 wise men did follow and gave him gifts and gave him this and all of these things about his birth, but he never said when the day is, and he surely said, make sure you keep a remembrance of this. So I'm like, no, man, they're not right. Then this is already after, you know, he had revealed his name to me, because I came in calling on the way name, YaHUaH as well, and Yeshua. And I was watching people, and then, you know, watching different things, and they would go between YaHUaH and the way name. And I'm like, no, man, one name have to be your name. Like, it can't be multiple names. And this is before I even got the revelation of the scripture never says multiple names. He has very many titles. YaHUaH Rapha, YaHUaH Nasi, YaHUaH Yara, my provider, my banner, my healer. You know, these different attributes, titles that he has with his name. YaHUaH is the one. Because even when you say it in the CH, they always put that JeHOVAH name on it. Why do you have to put the J name in front of the attribute? Because you're calling on his specific attribute. YaHUaH Zabaoth, YaHUaH of the armies. You know, but this is even before I began to get that deep of a revelation. But I'm like, no, something's not right. Like, what is your name? Like, what is your name? I want to know what your name is. And lo and behold, he brings something that we came across something with his name and talking about YaHUaH, YaHUaH, or UAH. Don't really know how you pronounce that letter. I'm going to lean towards UAH. YaHUaH. It's not a vowel. You know, and it's like, man, what is this? So I'm like, YaHUaH, like, and that resonated with my root, and I'm like, I have no more questions after that, and I haven't called on any other names, and Yahusha as well. And I'm like, well, why did I say Yeshua and why did I say Yahusha? or YaHUaH, not Yeshua, because Yeshua simply means deliverance. It's not a name. It's simply the attribute. YaHUaH gives the deliverance, Yahusha. But then they put the extra wa in there, Yahushua. And I'm like, yeah, why is that? So he came, give me another revelation. My son's name is Yahusha. And I'm like, those are foundational, firm. There's no infirmity. You can't move me on that. There's no IVOF, JEW anyway in Abrit, so that eliminates the way name that of YaHUaH or whatever them people do. I've got a video on that. You can check it out. But that eliminates a lot of the names even from there, but I hadn't even got that revelation yet. So he began to work on me and stuff like that, and revealing his name to me and stuff like that. And the guy who brought me in, because a lot of us were waking up in that CH to different aspects of truth at that time. So the guy who was there waking us up, and one of his biggest scriptures was YaHUaH 58:1. Cry loud, spare not, lift up your voice like a shofar. God, that's what he would always recite. Oh, I'm gonna cry loud, I'm gonna spare not. Whether he was really called to do that, I don't know, but I know that was my call, because that resonated with me up until this day. And even before I even knew about that scripture, I was constantly, like, as I was reading through scripture, like I said, I would go to the pastor, why are we not doing this? Why are we doing this? Why is this way? I was questioning a lot, because YaHUaH was placing things on my heart and drawing me close to him and pulling me away from certain things. So BatYaHUaH for that, man. Allah YaramYahu, man. When I sit and I really explain this out, I don't know who's gonna watch all of this, but if nobody else, it's for me. And yeah, and I'm like, from there, like, even like he would try to overpower me and try to talk over me, like when I was trying to talk to people, and it wasn't even like men, it was women and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, like, I know what YaHUaH has given me to say, but it's like Hashatan is always trying to shut up my voice from a long time, trying to shut up my voice, or trying to make me think like I'm crazy, having everybody tell me I'm crazy, everybody thinking I'm crazy, everybody spreading rumors about I'm crazy, I lost my mind and all this stuff. And I'm really not. You've lost your mind. If you're still in the CH, if you're still calling on God, JC, with as much information as out there at your fingertips, you can get on a ChatGPT, you can get on a whatever AI, a Google search, and it will tell you. Time for Pala. So that means this video needs to get wrap up, because that means it's 11:50. But I'm like, no. Too much information is out there. Too many people are waking up to the truth. White people, melanated people, any race, if you want to call it, any nationality. I don't really like race. That's a for them term. Any nationality. Too many people are waking up. Too much information is at your fingertips. I know a lot of people in the truth don't like AI. They don't like this. Oh, it's taking over and whatever. Use it while you can use it for certain things. Be careful. It will try to come in and creep in and take, everything, your thoughts, your this, everything. But what they mean for evil, YaHUaH will turn it around and work it out and make it for our tube. Use it for what it needs to be used for. There's a wealth of information out there. You can pull up books. You can pull up different resources that are not necessarily AI, but AI can direct you on, hey, this book, you might want to go get it at your library. You might want to go and get a digital copy of it, whatever floats your boat. But use it to a certain extent for your tube. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it consume you. you know? So I'm like, you have lost your mind and will argue me down about a lie. The scriptures are not about English people. They do not speak English. You can do a quick Google search. I've done it in one of my videos, one of those foundational videos. English is the most baby language. The letter J was only invented maybe 600 years ago, so his name can never be JC. The scriptures tell you that the Son comes in the Father's name. You cannot get JC out of God. You cannot get CHRIST out of God. Not to mention that they're mighty ones' names. But I've already done videos on most of that stuff. But I'm just like, I had, an Ahuti who had to tell me about these mocking spirits and stuff like that. I even have them in my household, even with my husband, even with my one son who's here. And my son's, for a long time. Oh, you're in a cult. Oh, this and that. Not in a cult because, for one, a lot of people I can't even agree with. I can't even agree with because I'm so ancient mindseted. I'm so fixated on being in YaHUaH's will and doing what he wants to do, getting back to that ancient path where the way is tube. That is another one, especially like when I started farming and stuff. YaramYahu, or they say it's Jeremiah 6:16. Seek the ancient path where the way is tube and walk therein it, and our stupid, wicked forefathers said, we're not gonna walk in it. And they've done that time and time again, and then will bawl out to YaHUaH for rescuing when they get themselves caught up in slavery, in captivity. Like, we were all stupid at one time, most of us anyway. Most of us have come out of some sort of religious fashion, and it's not religion. It's a relationship with YaHUaH. And whoever wants to call me crazy for it, I don't care. I'd rather be crazy in your sight and be pleasing in his sight. That's where I am, and I don't care. And then to the most recent thing with my daughter, and I think that has to do with, not wanting to be deceived. Back to that straw man piece. Although the technical term, if you have a Black Laws dictionary, which all of your legal things, all of the court systems, all of them use this for wordplay, is the ens legis, which some of the words that I talk about, and I really don't try to talk about them on this channel, more for my Qadash sheet page, like contracts and those types of terms, citizen and resident, and these types of things that they use to enslave you, and all these contracts that we're constantly signing and getting ourselves into. He's revealed this stuff to me out of some of it is a punishment for altars that I didn't know that I had, things that I've done like abortion, different things that I've gotten into, not understanding the spiritual weight of what I was actually doing. So working through, breaking off, these things, breaking down altars and things like that. But he has used and is using this situation that I've got put in to lift up my voice as a shofar, to fight for my rights. That's another thing. Black side, we got so much. We got so much, man. And I don't want to write a book. I don't really like books. Not to say that there might not be one, especially after I overcome this court system and this type of stuff. But I don't really like to read. I'm more of a movie somebody. Shows, really, not really even movies, shows. But whatever YaHUaH's will is, that's what I will do. So giving my testimony. But the standing up for your rights piece started back when I had my first daughter. She was breech, the one that they took. No, actually, that's not the first time. The first time I had to stand up for my rights was back with my sons. One went to the mental place to Shaitan loves to play mind games with us. But He went to the mental place and they were wanting to medicate him. And he was on medication, but it's like they were always trying to add a medication. And I'm like, when I would go and see him, and he was like a zombie, like he wasn't himself. And I'm like, no, you need to take him off of this. Like, I don't know what y'all did, but you need to take him off the meds. Take him off the meds. Let him get back to himself. Like, you cannot be helping somebody by simply medicating them. That's not helping him. That's simply making him so drowsy or so out of it that he can't even do nothing. I'm like, no, it gotta stop. And they wanted to release him because they didn't want to deal with him. Like, these hospitals, these medical physicians and stuff like that, they don't really want to help nobody. They've taken a secret oath, same like the judges and the lawyers and all these people. They've taken secret oaths, not for your benefit. But that's more stuff like for my Qadash sheet page. If I could ever get some time to do that, because I'm so consumed with my music, as you can hear this one in the background. I don't really get a break. My husband is always doing something, working on cars, and he doesn't have to deal with it. So it is what it is. But anyways, the second instance was again for my daughter, the one that they took. She was breech, and I was like, I don't want to have a C-section. I don't want to have a C-section, even when I had the twins, because even from there, they were telling me, I was going to have a C-section. Twins are usually born C-section. And I'm like, I don't want to have a C-section. I don't want a C-section. So when I went into labor with my twins, my mom was like, oh, boy, she gonna have a C-section. I'm like, Mom, shut up. Why are you even putting that in their brain? Why are you putting it out there? And YaHUaH pushed both of those twins out. They were both head down. But now it comes to like these girls, every single one of my daughters were breech. So I started off with my first daughter. She was breech. I'm like, I don't want to have a C-section. I don't want to have a C-section at all. And when I got to I had tried to get one version, I think, with her. And that's where they manually turn the baby, like try to turn the baby in your stomach. So I got an epidural, which was painful. Like, I don't remember my first epidural with the twins being that painful, but every single one of them since then has been painful. And I'm like, I don't like it. So I got an epidural with it, but it was still painful. Where the pressure and the pain, it's pain. Not only pressure of them trying to physically turn, and she would not turn. I cried. And the very next day I went into labor. I didn't even know. I was sitting at my dad and his wife's place. At that point, I really loved macaroni and tuna. Like, I don't know what it was about macaroni and tuna and some Ritz crackers. I don't eat those now, knowing what is in them. But some Ritz crackers and some macaroni and tuna salad. That was a meal for me. And I sat there, I stuffed myself. I was so full. And I don't even remember being in like a lot of pain, really. And then I went to the bathroom and my mucus plug came out and I'm like, oh, it's time to go. And then that's when the pain started. Like, I don't know if it was a mental thing or what. After seeing my plug and I'm like, oh, something's wrong. Something's happening. It's time to go. I'm like, after that, I remember in the car ride, I was laying down. I was in so much pain. I don't know if a bunch of babies were being born that day because I was out in the waiting room in pain, waiting for a room. And by the time they got me back there, like, they checked my cervix. They're like, it's time to go. We got to go straight to the OR. We got to have a C-section. I'm like, I don't want a C-section. I don't want a C-section. Can't we try to push her out? You're 10 centimeters dilated. We've got to go. You got to have a C-section. They made it like I had no choice but to get a C-section. And I kept saying, I don't want to have a C-section. I want to push the baby out. Can we try? Can we please try? I don't want to have a C-section. And knowing that I know now, I was assault. Because I kept telling them and they were not listening. I did not want to have a C-section. That recovery was horrible. Every time I moved, it felt like my stomach was ripping open. That was the most painful something, especially as a single mom. I had the boys and I had a newborn baby by myself, no help. That was horrible. Horrible. And I'm like, no, I will never, if anything, I didn't ever plan to have on any more kids, but I'm like, I will never have another C-section. That was the worst recovery of my entire life. That was I don't even know what was worse, either that or getting your tonsils taken out as an adult, which I should have never done, foolishly. But it is what it is. Didn't know any better at that time. But yeah, so it started from there, like standing up. It started from there, lifting up your voice as the shofar, being a respecter of persons. These scriptures that I know now, that I didn't even know then. I don't care what your doctor degree says. I don't care whatever training or whatever. I don't care what none of it says. I know what I know. And when I got pregnant with my daughter, my first daughter with my husband, and she was breech, and I'm like, not again. So that was a very big worry on me. It was a very big stressor for me, and that probably made her all the more breech. But also it was YaHUaH pushing me into a place like he's been doing, where I don't have a choice. So I started researching, because I know they're like, oh, well, when you have a C-section, you got to always get a C-section. And I, start looking up these organizations and watching YouTube videos and stuff, people having VBACs, that's what they call them, vaginal birth after cesarean, and all of this stuff. And even started coming into the realization of what they're doing and why they're doing it, making all these storm of things so that now we have to do a C-section because they pumped you up out of all of these drugs. They left you in a bed all this time for you to sit and not be active in your labor, actively laboring. What does labor mean? That means you're doing work by the sweat of your brow, labor, what they call it. And I'm like, because I was in the truth at this time very much. This was 3 years ago. So I was already like 4 or so years in the truth already. So coming to these different truths, and I'm like, won't happen to me again. So I start putting like all of my time into researching and these types of things. And I'm telling them I'm not having a C-section, They bring it up all the time at my appointments, especially later, like after 20 odd weeks and whatever. Oh, if the baby doesn't turn, and I'm like, I'm not having a C-section. And, I had to really push, like it was really draining to even go to the hospital to my appointments, because every time I got to tell somebody about a C-section and things that I don't want. But, it was it's part of my process. So I got 2 versions with her. She didn't turn either time. And then I went into labor. And I was like, I'm not getting a C-section. I got the epidural. I wasn't really active in my labor. I didn't really get that part of it. At that point, it was really, I'm not having another C-section. So they had me deliver in the operating room, which was scary and cold, of course. And I had my husband on one phone, on one ear. I think I had 2 phones at that time, and I had one of my girlfriends, in the truth, who was really, really solid. Mahuti, Mimi, Yasharal Mimi. And, she was there with me, as I was in the hospital laboring, put on some worship music, prayed with me and everything. So I had her in one ear and my husband in the other ear, as I was on the operating table. And, it was scary because one of the biggest things, my baby was, all of them, or I don't even know what my first daughter was, what type of breech she was. But these last 2 have been feet first. So the problem is, after the feet and the butt really comes out, then your cervix might think that the biggest part is done, because the head is the biggest part, and then everything else is slim besides like the bum, the hips and the butt. And the real risk is that the cervix will close back up at the head portion, especially if you don't get the baby out fast enough. So that was even while I was at the hospital in the first place, because that was very scary, a scary thought, and I didn't want to, whatever. So I'm pushing. I didn't have to have any stitches with any of my kids. I didn't have to have any stitches or, anything like that. Nothing, went wrong. I pushed her out, easy, right? But I had to fight. Even in the hospital, in labor, when you're trying to relax and tense so that the pain isn't much, the labor can be easier. I still have to fight with doctors constantly trying to make me have a C-section. And then when I got pregnant with my other daughter, my last daughter, now she was breech as well. And I started doing more research on, actively being labor, trying to actively do things so that different positions, sitting all day, and these types of things that kind of cause your baby to get stuck anyway in a position of being breech or, whatever. There's different things I was researching. And one of the biggest things is those sit bones. Like every time you have a baby, they tell you, spread your legs out wide. Well, even with my hands, like if you're spreading your legs out like this, your knees out, then that means your butt and your cervix and everything are closing. So you need to have your knees together so that your sit bones, like if you put your hands underneath your bottom, you can feel them so they can go out so you can have wider space. This is how, I was already not liking, the medical system and that type of stuff. And it's the stuff that I knew spiritually. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Like these people have gone to medical school for how many years, how many residency and all of this stuff. And they don't even teach them, because one of the doctors was like, they don't teach. The problem is they don't teach us this anymore. So it's like specialized practice you have to go to that knows how to deliver breech babies. I'm like, this is stupid. Like our foremothers, I should say, have been having babies breech or whatever before C-sections were ever invented. So what were they doing? Like, so much stuff frustrates me. But to the YaHUaH for his knowledge, for his wisdom, for his understanding, and these different things. I mean, I didn't like going through it, but I like having the knowledge now, and the wisdom. But I'm like, they go to school for all this time. What are they teaching them to do? Medicate and cut. Medicate and cut. That's all you see. Medicate surgery. Medicate you to the point where you're in bed, you can't do anything, and then you're not laboring as you would like, as you're supposed to, because you got all this false stuff instead of letting the real stuff kick in, walking around doing things, because once you get an epidural, your legs are dead. You can't walk, you can't do anything. And then they're having you in the wrong position. So you're pushing with your legs open like this, for my people who have labored for a long time. And it was like, man. So I was like, I don't want any epidural. I want to be active with my labor. Especially thinking back to my daughter, the one that I went in the hospital 10 centimeters with. I'm like, so I can do this. I've dilated the 10 minutes on my own before. And if I would have been able to push her out, I wouldn't have had an epidural in the first place. So, but I should kind of had other plans, trying to dampen my plans. So my water broke, and especially because my baby was breech, I waited a little bit and then I went to hospital. So I'm like, I was stuck at about 4 centimeters, because I've been like 4 centimeters for like 2 weeks prior. And I'm like, oh, this baby is still about 4 centimeters. So I'm like, well, I'm expecting that my labor is going to pick up since my water broke. No, that wasn't the case. Oh, well, do you want Pitocin? And I don't want Pitocin. Did some research about Pitocin. I don't want Pitocin. So in the late wee hours of the night, about maybe 3 a.m. or so, I'm like, all right, because I had already been in labor, or my water had already broken since maybe about 6, 7 in the evening. And I was like, I don't want them to start trying to force me, because, you know, at like that 24-hour, oh, well, your water's been broken and we're, you know, bacteria and, you know, this type of stuff where they're really like, oh, now we have to do C-section and rain. And I'm like, oh, I don't want that. So let me do the Pitocin. But for my research, I know that I can turn it on and turn it off. If it gets too intense, turn it off. So that's what I did for a while. When it started to kick in, little intense, I'm like, no, turn it off. Because, you know, they'll pump you up and pump you up and pump you up. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. Or I don't want to pump it up that fast because I don't want it to come on sudden, which it did happen. So after a few bouts of that, I maybe got to maybe about 5 centimeters. This is maybe 9, 10 a.m. And I'm like, all right, I really got to give this a bout. I was taking hot showers to deal with the pain, like as hot as the water could go in the hospital. And it kind of eased my pain. I wish I would have had a TENS machine, but I didn't have one. And the last time I had them put on the Pitocin, I didn't even have them put it up as much as I had before. But it's like, for whatever reason, I don't know if it started to kick in my actual labor or whatever. But oh my, that was so excruciating. The heat from the shower was not helping. And I had a midwife, a doula, not a midwife. I had a doula. So my doula can stand testimony because she was there this whole time. And I went from those like 5 centimeters to fully dilated in like an hour, if that. It was so intense. Like, I had put the head of my bed up because one of the exercises when your baby is breech to try to get them to turn is to lay upside down, and put like cold at the bottom. No, put cold at the top where their head is so that they can force themselves to go down. So I put my head of my bed up and I put my legs and stuff up there, had them cut the Pitocin, and I'm like, oh, this has to stop. This has to stop. Maybe that the baby goes up. If I can get the baby unlodged from, you know, my cervix, then the contractions will go back down. But oh my, it was so painful. It would not let up, to the point where I'm like, well, can I have like, because, you know, they have like the laughing gas. I forget what the technical name for it is. Can I have that now? No, you can't have that because you're past, you know, 5 centimeters. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll take the epidural. I'll take the epidural at this point. I just want the epidural. And when I came in, okay, well, we got to check you again because, you know, at certain different, if it's too late or whatever, you might not be able to get, you know, stuff, spinal taps and these types of things. And I'm like, all right, no problem. So I can't remember if it was a spinal tap or an epidural. I think it was an epidural. But they checked me and I was 10 centimeters. Like I said, that was maybe the span of an hour. I mean, maybe it was even shorter because, you know, when you're in pain, it feels like it's much longer than it actually was. But it was a very short period of time where those contractions just kicked in. I couldn't get any relief. And I'm like, I need something. And I was 10 centimeters. So I could get the epidural. So they, again, in the OR, took me in the OR. And I got the epidural. I was sitting there, and like, epidural is painful in itself to get. I don't know what it is, but as they're threading it down, like with these last 2 or 3 pregnancies, an epidural has been painful. I don't know if it's something that, you know, because I've got them or whatever, but it's like, I don't know if something snags, but it is painful. It's painful. And I'm trying, because I don't want to be paralyzed. You know, they're playing around with my spine. So I'm trying to sit so still, but I got these contractions. But I was sitting like on a gurney bed with my legs over the gurney bed. So as I'm sitting there, and then right as I roll over, after they got the epidural, and as I roll over and roll down, the baby's legs were coming out. Car's legs were coming out. So like, we gotta go, you know. And at that point, the epidural was kicking in. And I was tired because I've been up trying to labor, trying to walk, trying to do all these things, to be active on my ball and everything. And I'm tired. And now I got this epidural, like, giving my legs out. So I'm trying to push. They're like, come on, come on, come on. You got to push. And I'm trying to keep my knees locked, but they're trying to push them, force them open. And my legs are like dead weight at this point with this epidural. So I'm like, oh man, BatYaHUaH, she came out feet first, no complications, no anything. That was like my testimony with that. And that was like when I really started to stand up for my rights. After, leaving the CH and, standing up for, YaHUaH and his truth and what was right and what was off in my root at that point. And then he took it a step further with these babies. And now with these court cases and this type of stuff and everything that I'm learning, all these contracts, being a modern day slave and all of this stuff, man, this world is so wicked, so wicked. Like, a lot of people in the truth have these same questions. Why do they make you get car insurance? They don't make you get life insurance. They don't make you get homeowners insurance. They don't make you get renters insurance. They don't even, well, now they kind of sort of made you get health insurance. But they don't make you get these insurances. But why do they make you get this car insurance? Or why do they have the authority, Salaki, the power to take your vehicle that you worked how long? You worked hard to slave and get, but they can take it if your paperwork isn't right. Are you telling me that I'm registering my vehicle to them, that they own it? Because if you can take it away, that means I don't own it. You can foreclose on my house, I don't own it. Or you can take my land because I didn't pay you taxes? Do you own it? How did we get here? How did we get here? And it really was when, they took my daughter and my rights and my constitutional rights. And I don't care what anybody has to say. Oh, well, they said black people are a third of a person or whatever the case may be. That's really not what the Constitution said. It said slaves. We know slaves are mainly the melanated people. But there's nothing in the Constitution that flat out said that black people are less of a person. But it was for voting and that type of purposes, for however they calculate the votes. I really don't care because I don't vote. I'm not a citizen. I'm not a resident. So I don't care. The game is rigged anyway. Your vote does not count. No, your vote matters. Your voice matters. It does not matter. You have the power, and this really came to me. You have the power to vote these people in, but you don't have the power to unvote them. Forget them out. They sell you all these dreams. And then when they get in office, they do none of it. They restrict and violate your rights time after time again. And then you don't have the power to vote them back out. But in the Constitution, you have the right to ask Congress for redress, which I've been doing. I'm up to the Supreme Court. Everybody is ignoring me. Nobody wants to help me. I've reached out to senators, Fetterman's office, the Summer Lee, the state representative. I've reached out to the Attorney General, now the new one as well, because I didn't even know there was a new one. But the new one, I've reached the FBI, all these 3-letter agencies that were created from this fraudulent 14th Amendment. All these 3-letter agencies that are not doing anything when they are violating rights or kidnapping and our kids, kidnapping and trafficking our kids. Where do they get the right to come into private families? 2 people came together. They did an act. YaHUaH gave the increase to conceive a child, because he's the only one who can open and close up wombs. And then you labor with the kid. You carry them for 9 months. You labor with them. You raise them to however many point when they decide that they want to come in, or because you're not doing things to their standard, or because you're not following their rules or what they want you to do, which in my case, I believe it's because I was progressively standing up for my rights. No, I don't want my baby going to the NICU. No, I don't want your snake bites. I don't want anything from you. I don't want anything. I don't want your eye ointment. I don't want any of it. Don't give my pitney any of it. I don't want it. I don't want any of it. and you're gonna figure out a way to deliver this baby, breech and all. And I don't want your epidural. I don't want your things. All I want is the help to make sure that me and this baby come out on the other side alive, which, you know, that's a hard task in American hospitals anyway, especially for, you know, us women, melanated. But with this situation, it's like, I don't even know. Like, man, where YaHUaH's brought me from. That's why that is a song that always comes back to me, because where he's brought me from and things he's brought me through are all for this purpose here, what he has me to do in the kingdom. And I don't care who agrees with it. I don't care who doesn't like it. I don't care, whatever, so long as I am pleasing to him. And some people, oh, well, you know, that's legalistic, and, you know, these types of things and whatever, especially about the words. And I'm like, we got to clean up our mouth. We got to clean up our mouth. We got to clean up our mouths. This is a commandment. Like, this is in your scriptures too. So we're like getting to a point like, you know, CH people, this is in your scriptures. This is not nothing that I'm making up. This is not my words, you know? So we need to be doing this. Everybody, oh, the food, they're tampering with the food, and, you know, we got to get healthy, and we got to, you know, these types of things. Yeah, your mouth too. Yeah, and other things, all of it, you know? Oh, well, that's legalistic. That's like legalistic. Well, you don't say it's legalistic when they tell you need to wear a seatbelt, or they want to give you a ticket, which is making you a criminal, because a citation, I don't care what you want to call it, they're saying that you're breaking the law, which means you're a criminal. You don't say that's legalistic. You don't say the law that makes that you have to pay extra money out of your pocket to insure your vehicle is legalistic. You don't say when you have to do certain things, you have to do your taxes. Well, you don't really have to do your taxes, but as what we grow up and what we've been programmed to believe, we have to do our taxes, we have to do this. You don't say that's legalistic. People were getting their degrees and going to this higher education, or, oh, you got to put your kids in their school system, or get their permission to homeschool your kids the way you want to. You don't say that's legalistic. But every time when it's something to better yourself, to get cleaned up, to get, you know, where YaHUaH wants you to go, everybody wants to always pull out this legalistic things. All right, don't take all that. And, you know, these different things, same like the people in the world say, well, don't take all that. You don't have to keep the Shabbat. You don't have to. I mean, I know that's the fourth commandment that everybody, or the fourth word and the 10 words, fourth commandment that all the CHs mostly have in their CH, but nobody follows. Remember the Shabbat, keep it Qadash, keep it placed apart. Like, these things, they don't make sense to me. They don't make sense to me at all. And a lot of things are not going to make sense to me. I'm not YaHUaH. But there are things that he places deep down in my root that aggravate me and irritate me, and it pushes at me and nags at me, and things that I'm very passionate about he's put in me, things that I need to do, I need to speak about, I need to put in action. Because with this whole thing, as you can see, putting my life on display, putting, you know, this stuff out there to get support, because we're kidding ourselves. And I've said this time and time again, we're kidding ourselves if we think that we're all going to get in one place, or we're going to be in a new, you know, or not even in the new Yerushalayim, but in the new, we're going to get together in the wilderness and we're going to be together. We can't even come together now. So you know what it's going to take? Look at our forefathers. They were warriors. They were people, all of them, even the Luing tribe, or who they say is the Levites, the priests. They all knew how to fight. They were fighting. When you look through scripture, there was constant fighting. Only during the time of Shalom was there like a long stretch of Shalom. of rest, no fighting, no wars. Either somebody's trying to come invade, somebody's trying to take in a captive, or we're going to go and overcome and get whatever land or whatever spoils or whatever judgment YaHUaH wants to bring to a different nation. There's always fighting. So do you think that this world, who's got its grips in everybody like this, slavery, and the sad part about it, we don't even know that we're slaves. And now we wake up to the truth of YaHUaH. We're all get together, come out of this matrix. Who's going to fight? Who is going to fight? Literally, we're going to have to fight to protect our borders. You know, he said, oh, protect the borders, put up the walls. They're still mine. For arm those, for watch at those walls. Border patrol and these types of things. Who's going to guard our borders? It's the same thing now. So many people. It's been a long time, but it's getting worse now, especially with our kids. And those are the apple of YaHUaH's eye. Our kids, they are taking, they are kidnapping and trafficking. And because I stand up for my rights, they don't like me. Everybody thinks that I'm crazy, although the judges and things, they know exactly what I'm talking about, but they don't have anybody to hold them accountable. The FBI is not doing its job because they should have been stepped in and had federal charges on these people. The governors and all these people that you elect in, they're going to protect your rights and they're going to do all this stuff, and they're not doing nothing. Congress, I need a redress because my rights have been completely obliterated at every aspect of my life at this moment. Who in Yasharal is going to do it? Oh, well, that's not my business. Oh, well, I don't want to get involved. Oh, well, I don't want them to target me. I don't want them to mess with my family. I don't want all these things. Who's going? We can't bind together now. How are we going to do it then? We're going to magically come together and then everything's going to click. No, it takes work. It takes preparation. What do you think all these feasts are? They're preparation for when the real thing comes. We've got to do better, man. This walk, this truth, this nation, we've got to do better. We've got to do better. We should be the light. We should be an example. We should be a safe space. And it's not safe at all. People wake up to the truth, and a lot of people, they stay asleep or they go back, they turn back because there's not a safe space. Everybody wants to judge. Everybody wants to be, and I don't mean righteously judge. I mean like two-faced it. Like you should be able to bear with one another. Make known your crimes. Confess your crimes to one another. Therefore, you'll be delivered because people can palaw for you. People can bear with you, bear with one another, love one another. No, we don't do that. We go and gossip. No different than religion. No different than religion. Worse, because you slap YaHUaH's name upon it and YaHusha's name upon it. We've got to do better, man. All of this to say, this is Palah gives you a glimpse of what I am called to do, why my messages are the way that they are, and those types of things. Still got a lot of, we all do. Filthy rags. And those who know me will always say, I am that one that's starting to mold, that only got like a thread or so left. Filthy rags. Filthy rags before YaHUaH's face. And he still chose me repeatedly throughout my life. BatYaHUaH. Man, BatYaHUaH didn't bow on camera. On camera I didn't bow. But yeah, so that's my testimony, guys. That's my testimony. BatYaHUaH. If you have any part, where he's taking me. So everybody sees this logo of mine, or coat of arms is what it really is. It's for my nation. So being one of the steps I took to be free, sovereign, if you want to call it, sovereign citizen, they like to call it, slander you as, which is an oxymoron anyway. You can go visit the Qadash sheep channel. But yeah, I made this nation play on my husband's last name, Jones. So it's Jonesaica Yahshar'al. You will start seeing it rebranded as YaHUaH Yasharal. And I'll do a separate video on what that means and that type of stuff when I'm doing that. But that is my nation that I've created for my family, for my house, for, you know, my things, private, operating in the private, and have my own nation, for do it, because technically we really all do. But that's whatever. It's neither here nor there. But that was one of the steps that I have taken to be free. Do you have to? No. But that's one of the routes that I took, especially, you know, with the spiritual stuff and, you know, all these different things. So it's going to grow. It's going to have a physical locale. I don't know where. Waiting on YaHUaH. And that's part of the reason why all this suffering and all of this stuff, because I have a big settlement to get after YaHUaH perfects and you know, brings me out of this. So finding a physical locale to be a nation for those who the call is on, as Mora Oshia would say, not everybody is going to resonate with this election. Make your call an election sure. Well, mine's is sure. Not everybody's going to resonate with this election. A lot of people despise it, don't like it, but my goal is righteous. My goal is ancient and righteous, back in order. YaHUaH's order, not my order, not your order, not his order, not their order, not this sense of order that everybody wants to do. YaHUaH's order. A place where we can come together. It's not going to be, oh, well, you know, you'll be up underneath me, and, you know, no. You want to, you know, still have your assemblies, congregations, whatever you want to call them. Be my guest if, you know, you're called. There will be some checks and balances, though. Absolutely. As I said, striving for righteousness and ancient. So these modern mindsets need to go. They really need to go. They're really to our detriment. They need to go. But that's where I am. When I had originally thought about this, I mean, some people do a whole heap of things with their nations. But I don't want it to be like a cartoon or like a play type thing. This is real. It's live. It's action. YaHUaH's going to bring it to fruition. When, I don't know, but he's going to bring it into fruition. Like I said, some of these pieces I'm literally getting like last week. Last strung to the Rabba to, you know, Huti Anelia, taking the time with me to add some missing pieces to some of this stuff. But yeah, I had originally thought about, you know, like maybe getting passports, making passports of our own nationality of Yasharal and these types of things, but that's gonna take like making treaties and stuff with other nations, countries, whatever you want to call them. They're all nations, and stuff like that. And I don't know that I really want to do that political aim. I don't know. whatever YaHUaH wants to do. And we're getting into a place, a world where you're not even going to be able to travel. There's not even going to be, the passport is going to be obsolete because this this system that they're going to be trying to implement, like it's not going to do anything. But again, whatever YaHUaH, however great, however big, however detailed, however, you know, whatever pieces YaHUaH wants it to be, that is what it will be. So I look forward to that day because, like I said, a whole heap of suffering, a whole heap of loss, a whole heap of difficulty right now. Because now I don't even have a phone. But BatYaHUaH is kind of freeing. I will say it is kind of freeing not having a phone. But yeah, that's basically what I got. And that's part of what the website, as I was heading to, has to do with the nation becoming, you know, a member, if you want to do that. A national really is what it is, becoming a national. Those types of things. More on my music, you know, stuff like that. I don't even know if I will make this whole testimony public. Don't know. Backside me there 2 hours. Me rotted. Me have to come off of here. I know. Wow. May say maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Me there double that. So, anyways, that's the stuff that comes in the works, guys. Shalom, shalom. May YaHUaH be with you. I applaud. This was a barakah to somebody. You know, and whoever's on board, whoever, you know, is given the inclination to sow any type of seeds into my life, and I don't mean money. I mean, if you do want to give any donations, I greatly appreciate them and need them. But I mean, sowing a seed as far as a word, an encouragement, something, anything. I don't, whatever the seed that YaHUaH has for you for plant into me, into my ministry, into my family, I would appreciate it. And even into this nation that he wants to make so that we're together again, and at some point, or even have different hubs. I don't think that everybody's going to be specifically in one big place, but who knows? I don't know what YaHUaH wants to do specifically. Working on trying to get the land prepared as far as my land. My land, myself, my heart, my cleanliness, you know, my righteousness, and trying to, you know, research different things so that I'm ready to go when he releases everything. But BatYaHUaH, man, he's so wonderful, he's so awesome, he's so matchless and mighty. YaHUaH. Shalom.